So I've been watching the stories and news coming out of Palestine as these people prepare to be genocided um, in this completely insane, illegal attack on civilians that we're all just letting happen. And I know I'm just one little person and I don't have a lot of power. I have no power really, but is there anything I can do? Is there anything we can do to stop this? Is there anything we can do? Like, who's got some ideas? Because, man, I feel ashamed to be a human right now, watching this happen and watching people celebrate it. What is fucking wrong with us?
I just finished one of the worst call shifts of my life. I worked for over 26 hours in a row. And I'm not sharing that because this is about me. I'm sharing that because all I could think about is how in Gaza right now, there have been 4 hospitals rendered essentially useless. They cannot be used because Israel has bombed the areas around them. They have demanded that they evacuate them. They have rendered these hospitals useless. They cannot use them. All of the supplies, the literal places of safe haven, of shelter, they can't use them. They have been bombing ambulances while en route with people in them. They're bombing the Red Crescent that is trying to go save people from rubble, digging them out with their bare hands. They are bombing healthcare providers and first responders. If I can't appeal to your humanity because you don't see Palestinians as humans, can I appeal to the fact that you might be a paramedic, that you might be a nurse, that you might be a doctor? These are your colleagues. These are doctors. These are just people, just like you. They are people. They are people who are just trying to live. They're fighting for life, for freedom of movement, freedom to farm, to fish, to see their families, to run businesses, to have jobs. They're not fighting for any of the other garbage that people tell you. They're not trying to terrorize anybody. They want to be free. And they're being bombed incessantly. Hospital after hospital is being shut down. This is a genocide. This is an extermination. If you don't have hospitals, no one will survive. No one. You can't do anything anymore. What are they supposed to do? Again, if I can't appeal to your humanity because you don't see Palestinians as people, look at them as doctors, look at them as nurses, look at them as first responders, paramedics, ambulance drivers, look at them as whatever else you can do to look at them and see them as worthy and valuable, as worthy of your rage. That's all. I can't.
This is interesting. So what you're saying is I must be a self-hating Jew because I don't support the oppression of Palestinian people. Because I don't support cutting off food, water, electricity to 2.2 million people in Gaza. I must be a self-hating Jew because I am not willing to co-sign tactics that were used against us during the Holocaust to dehumanize Palestinians. Evidently, if I really loved Jewish people, I would be okay with dehumanizing a group of people as long as they're not Jewish. Is that what you're saying? I must not love Jewish people if I am not willing to support the bombing of an entire city, residential neighborhoods, schools, mosques, hospitals. I must hate Jewish people, including myself. So to you, Jewish people are oppressors because I, as a Jewish man, will never support an oppressor. And I don't believe Jewish people are oppressors. I believe the state of Israel is an oppressor. And I'm getting a little bit fired up because I started out my video before proclaiming my support and love for Israeli people by saying I am a proud and unapologetic Jewish man. And then I expressed my support for Palestinian liberation. And that's where you drew the line. What does that say about your brand of Judaism?
Yeah, let's be crystal fucking clear here. I will never, ever, under any circumstances, cast my vote for another American politician who votes to fund Israel. Never. Like, this will never happen. If it comes down to Biden versus Trump, I will not vote for Joe Biden just to keep Trump out of office. I'll vote third party. I will no longer, under any circumstances, vote for a politician who funds Israel. Period. That's where I'm at. This genocide is absolutely disgusting to me. It wounds me to my soul, and I will never support it in any way for any reason. And if Trump becomes the president because I won't vote for Biden and other people won't vote for Biden, so be it. Not my fucking problem. As much as I hate Trump and MAGA, and I think how absolutely hideous they have been for America, this is worse. Genocide is worse. Trump did a bunch of shit, but he didn't fucking kill people in a genocide. And that is what U.S. tax dollars are going to do right now. And I will never, under any circumstances, vote for another politician who funds Israel. And if you feel as I do, speak up, because it's time for the fucking American people to rise up and say, fucking hell no, man. You will not use our tax dollars to massacre a bunch of fucking people. Period. For any fucking reason. Try me, Joe Biden. Try me.
Shame on you, MSNBC, for removing these 3 Muslim personalities off of your show because of the war. This is clear discrimination. There was no reason to remove these 3. And this is not the only time newscasters have been removed because they have been supporting Palestine or been Muslim. Mark Lamont Hill was fired from CNN in 2018 because he said Palestine from the river to the sea. The blatant discrimination that MSNBC has shown by removing these 3 off of their respective shows is ridiculous, and nobody's talking about it. Apparently, everybody in the media is okay with them kicking out their Muslim broadcasters. They're complicit. They don't care. It doesn't take a lot to connect the dots that these 3 were kicked off because they were Muslim. The Western media is pushing this narrative so hard. Even our president of the United States pushes this narrative. Like, our president literally told us that he saw pictures of the babies that Hamas had slaughtered. And then the White House had to come out and be like, actually, guys, he never saw anything. And then the story turned out to be fake. But nobody in the Western media is talking about it. They spew the lie. When it backfires on them, they say nothing.
In a Jewish state. What a blessing that would be. And how easy. All we'd have to do is walk in the footsteps of Abraham and Moses and follow in the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not worship material objects. Thou shalt not kill nor covet, meaning don't yearn for, and certainly don't steal any of thy neighbor's possessions, land, nor blockade their freedom. Take care of the poor and oppressed over all else. Or we could live in a Christian state. And what a blessing and how easy that would be. All we'd have to do was follow Jesus, the modern name of a Jewish man called Yeshua, who reminded us to also follow Abraham and Moses in the 10 Commandments, to never worship material objects nor idols, to not steal nor kill, to love unconditionally, to judge no one, and care most of all for the poor and oppressed, and to prioritize looking at our own faults and devote ourselves to their correction and improvement, to never fall victim to feelings of arrogance or somehow being superior to somebody else. Or we could live in a Muslim state. What a blessing and how easy that would be. All we'd have to do is follow Muhammad, peace be upon him, who told us to follow Abraham, and Jesus, who was called Yeshua, and Moses, and follow the 10 Commandments, to never worship material objects nor idols, to not kill nor steal, and to take care of the poor and oppressed over all else, to submit to the highest unfathomable good with acceptance and patience and courage. We could also live in all 3 states at once, because it turns out they are highly compatible, and it sounds like heaven on earth, which I think was the idea. This guidance that we now call Islam and Christianity and Judaism came from three people after each fasted for a month to reduce the influence of this material world, to leave themselves empty, to receive something from that highest good. And they did. They each had a revelation that human beings should never associate anything physical or that springs from desire and self-interest with an unfathomable, all-encompassing oneness God, Allah, Yahweh, which all mean the same thing, regardless of religion or tradition, a word that means that which is everything, that which precedes and surrounds and exists inside and outside all that exists. And each of these three people who had this revelation were from the same family and share the same ancestor, who are all our ancestors, and who shared this same message, that this world is temporary. It's a test of our willingness to be a good and humble person who uses our earthly desires as fuel, but not direction. And each one of them, in succession, said that the world was not listening to their sibling who had just come prior. It turns out that the beliefs of all the children of humanity are also completely compatible with Gautama Buddha, who reminded humankind that our attachment to material things leads to suffering. And our entire human family is also compatible with the beliefs of Hinduism, which advise that humankind must be aware of our karma, which could be interpreted simply as that which we hate, we become, and that which we love loves us back. All the wisdoms of the world, practiced as prescribed, create harmony among all the families of the earth. And it should go without saying that there's nothing that could ever justify killing or kidnapping a child or civilians or evicting a family from their home or bombing a building or seizing land someone is living on already or voting for leaders or tax dollars to finance these kinds of crimes or the weapons that are used to commit them, or contribute in any way to the suffering of anyone because of where their family was born or what their religion is, when there's clearly no difference between any of our religions or our families. Let us celebrate and respect our differences, especially and most of all those that we do not understand or are none of our business. The nature of this universe and that which has true authority over it and our little world is certainly not perceived in the judgments of any of us, its tiny, near clueless, temporary guests. A wise elder once said that we do not have the divine wisdom to know what came before or what comes after, nor what is within nor outside the object of our judgments. May we focus on the job we have in front of us, which, among other things at this time, is to always speak and act and vote against violence and against all those sins so clearly described by our mothers and fathers. May we devote ourselves to peace, outwardly and inwardly, for as long as there is war in ourselves, there will be war in the world. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That's my bad Arabic, which means peace be upon you. And may that unfathomable oneness, which is everything and encompasses everything, precedes, postdates, and surrounds, and is within us all, bless you in every aspect of your life.